First, we have Dixon, who is co-chair of the WELL, and two students from school who are currently in school, one from Hill Park Secondary School, Damien LeClaire, and Christina Tedesco, who is currently at Mohawk College, but formerly at Cardinal Newman High School. So let's begin with you, Dixon. Welcome all, first of all. And in my introduction, I think I got most of the facts, but we'll get them out clearly in the interview. Dixon, tell us, define LGBTQ for us.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Larry, and thanks for the invitation to be on the show. LGBTQ, it's an initialism. It stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer persons. It's an initialism. It's the sort of generally accepted initialism for a diversity of sexual orientations and gender identities that are considered not mainstream or non-normative. And so the LGBTQ Community Wellness Center here in Hamilton, we usually go by the WELL. We're a volunteer organization, and we exist by the community and for the community to support the general wellness and feeling of community amongst lesbian, gay, bi, trans, and queer people in Hamilton, Greater Hamilton.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And so Damien and Christina, you are members of that community. You identify as such. And Damien, your school has a positive space.
Yes.
And Christina, your high school did not.
That's correct.
And we'll learn a little bit about the various experiences you had. But before we do that, I want you to listen to a segment from the Opinionators, this program that aired last week. Listen, and then we'll get your reaction to it.
This is nonsense. And you know
Listen,
what?
I'm not pro-bullying, and I think if they can find a way to
no,
support
and neither
each
am
other,
I.
and not, it's a life and death
Room
issue.
214 is for the fat kids,
Listen,
and then the zit-face kids are down the hall to
you
the
know
left.
what?
Like,
To
come on.
equate those two things with the fact that these people have a different lifestyle and they
But gay kids fit in and get along.
Listen, Lauren,
at all kinds
you know
of
what? By
schools.
minimizing the struggle that they have, you're not only are you not helping, but you're making it a false argument. It's not about having pimples. It's not about a jungle rite of passage.
Laura, did you have friends in high school who were gay? I did.
It's about a system that has had a prejudice against gay people for hundreds, thousands of years.
Well,
and
I'd
now they're
suggest
coming
that you
out and
don't go to
saying,
Catholic
okay,
school.
no,
if
what
you're
it's
outwardly
saying
gay.
is that they should be free to be who they are, and
Well,
if they
no
can
one's
support each
saying
other
that they're
good
not
in high school.
I think they should be free of who they are, but I don't know whether the high school environment is the right place. A lot of kids are already outed if they're gay or lesbian. So they already know who they are. They have the confidence. Some kids that don't have the confidence would want to talk to someone, and maybe they could approach them. They find each other in high school.
And this gives them the support to do that.
You know what?
I don't know. What about all the other
Hamilton high
support?
schools are not some backwood Alabama hillbilly
You just
place.
said they're jungles.
Of course, but you do not have to fear for your life by being a gay person in the majority of high schools in Hamilton.
And this will only make sure that they fear less, Lauren, which is the point.
Well, you could hear it was an animated discussion panel, and the topic was positive spaces in schools. And Laura Babcock felt that it was a good thing to have, and the other two were not against gays at all, but they were saying that perhaps having a space would be detrimental. Christina, what would you say to that?
I think it's absolutely necessary for them to have a space. I mean, I went to a high school where they didn't, and it's not about segregating them to a certain room and saying, if you're gay, you go here. It is giving them the confidence to feel that they can go to school and be positive and not feel alone. I mean, after I came out and I did a paper on being gay in a Catholic high school, permission had to be given by the board for me to write this paper in the first place. And then after that, rumors started swirling. It wasn't to the point of being bullied or, having things written on my locker, but I felt alone. And high school wasn't a place for me to find those people, as they were saying, they find each other. No, we don't. And what I did in response to that was created Radar with the help of community members so we can have this space in the community because it wasn't in my high school.
Okay, Damien, you on the other hand are in a high school where there are positive space for members of your community, and you can congregate, get to know each other, and in fact you were even telling me off air that last year you had a prom, and you're organizing one for this year. Do you want to share your experience as well, and your reaction to the clip that you heard?
Yeah, actually, I was outed in grade 9, and I was very lost. I didn't know what to do. And my old school, Westdale, actually had a positive space, and I attended that, and it built up my confidence again and made me be able to walk down the halls of my school without being ashamed of who I was. And then I ended up transferring to Hill Park, which ended up being an even greater experience because at Hill Park, I never got a name called at Hill Park, ever. And the positive space there is absolutely wonderful.
And is the space, Damien, a physical space, or is it an attitude, or is it both?
It's definitely both, because we like to tackle issues, and we're very...
But is there a room you go to? I mean, the panel that was talking last week was talking about, you know, a room, a physical room that people could go to for camaraderie and congregation and so on. Is it a physical room?
Yes, it is. It's in the library, actually.
Okay. And Dixon, you were shaking your head as you were listening that I was watching you. What was your reaction to what you heard?
Well, I've actually seen the entire interview. I watched it on YouTube, and it was very frustrating to listen to. I mean, as somebody who works in the community and works with LGBT youth on a fairly regular basis, I respect all of the opinionators' opinions, but I also thought they were remarkably uninformed, and it was they all had very uncomplicated and unnuanced views of what it's like to be an LGBT youth who's, you know, exploring coming out in our culture. And I really want to shift the debate in some ways, because I'm sick of this discussion in some ways about positive space, because, you know, the kids who need positive space aren't the problem. They're the people who are experiencing distress, who are experiencing potentially social ostracization. It's the bullies that are the problem. I think that's what we need to focus on. Why is it, in some cases, this is not necessarily absolutely every school or anything like that, or every place in every school, but in general, and there's good documented evidence of studies both in Canada and the US showing that schools in general are places that seem to shelter certain types of bullying and harassing behavior. This is a problem. If we allow this sort of bullying and harassing behavior, whether that's psychological abuse, you know, rumors, whispered threats, lots of whispered threats, we get lots of reports of that, graffiti on lockers, sometimes it's physical. If we allow that to happen in our high schools, what are we teaching our kids about society in general? I mean, one of the roles of our schools is creating engaged citizens in a civil society, and I emphasize the term civil society. And it seems to me that when administrators, when teachers start to turn away and ignore one type of, you know, very like antisocial behavior, but certainly incivility, then we're teaching our kids across the board that that's okay, and that's just poisonous for society in general.
Dixon, you are such an articulate spokesperson for that very, very necessary perspective. Tell us about the event tomorrow, please.
Sure. Tomorrow we're having the Make It Better Vigil, and it's at City Hall. Starting at 6:30, and it's going to, the first part of the vigil was indoors. It's really exciting. We're going to have some youth. We're going to have a youth choir. We're going to have some youth talking about their experiences in positive space. Again, talking about why positive space has been meaningful to them. We're going to have some educators and some of our leaders of our youth groups, so adult leaders of our youth group, talking about how positive space has impacted them. Because don't forget, this is a full community kind of event, right? It's not just, it's about youth interacting in healthy ways with adults and a community coming together. And we're coming together to say there are problems. You know, there are youth who are suffering, who are feeling isolated, who may be experiencing psychological or physical abuse in their educational environments, and we need to stop. As a broader society, we need to pause. We need to say, this is a problem, we need to make it better.
Excellent. Damien, you're going to go tomorrow, I'm assuming, are you?
Yes.
And how do you feel that that'll make it better?
I feel it'll make it better because we're opening it up to the community and we're letting the community know what's going on and why it's happening, and that things need to change, because obviously the suicides were devastating and it can be prevented.
Christina, you are going as well tomorrow, are you?
Yes, of course.
And you think it'll make a difference, obviously. Now, you are at college right now, and you've left the high school that didn't have the sort of positive space. Have you thought of going back and talking to the principal and recommending that maybe they change their ways?
Well, when I was there, I tried. After I had written that paper and did a presentation on it, I started hearing small rumors, and I would hear people talk about it. People kind of knew and weren't really saying anything. And I tried confiding in one teacher, and she would just say, our school system is not ready for this. And it was a total shutdown. So I did try while I was there. I would like to go back. And
well, good for you. And let's hope that they watch this program, the important people watch this program, and take your message to heart. Listen, let me thank each of you, Dixon and Damien and Christina, for being here today, sharing your stories. And I wish you luck for tomorrow and into the future.